Hello. A few weeks ago, I was in the garden, which is not often I do gardening, but I was. Well, I was clearing some leaves. It's autumn time, and I disturbed a mouse, and I moved back the leaves, and the mouse scurried that way. It scurried that way, then it scurried back. And what it was obviously doing, it was looking for a place of safety. I'd startled it. It was looking for a refuge, a safe space, and it immediately reminded me of the mind. The mind scurries. The mind scurries just like the mouse, trying to find a place of safety, trying to find the mind wants permanence in in an impermanent world. It wants certainty in an uncertain world. How uncertain is the world? It wants constancy in a world that's not constant. Everything's coming and going. Everything's changing. Even our moods change. Our thoughts change. The people in our lives change. The weather changes. It's trying to find security in an insecure world. It's trying to find stability in an unstable world. The world as it is, reality as it is, doesn't suit the mind. The mind wants to tie it down. It wants to, this is it. Now I'm safe. That's why we have such busy mind. People often ask me, why is my mind so busy? And this is the primary reason. Because we are trying to find stability in an unstable world. We're trying to find a home where nothing will touch us, where there's only pleasure. You could say we're trying to find pleasure in a world that isn't always pleasant. It brings the pleasant and the unpleasant. And this is one of the things we need to see in our life, in our own life, in our own mind, in our own being. We have to start to pay attention. Paying attention is the way out, but there are, let me put it another way. It's a particular quality of attention that we need to pay. And the attention that we need to pay in our meditation, in our contemplations, in our daily life. Right now, take your attention to your contact with the chair. That's the type of attention, just that. Take your attention to a sense of being here. There's undeniably a sense of being. There's, or rather, within that sense of being, we get taken away by thoughts. The mind scurries to the future, trying to fix the future, make the future as certain as I can. And beyond the sensible things we need to do, like making sure the children go to a decent school or put away a few pounds and whatever we need to do, those sensible, we all know them. But that's not enough for the mind. It wants to make sure that it's safe. And then it goes back into the past, making sure that that's safe. What? Dwelling on the past, if I had done that, if I hadn't done this. So this kind of attention that we need to pay to the scurrying mind is just a simple awareness. It's not a judgmental awareness, though judgments may happen, and that's fine. It's not a judgmental attention. It's not it's not an attention that's got an agenda. It's just seeing the reality of the moment. There's a man scurrying. And you see that this scurrying just happens because the mind is not still. The mind is active. And it's almost like we live in the mind. Boom, we live in here. We live in the mind. And the mind's always active. The mind's scared, looking for permanence. There isn't any permanence. It's trying to find peace by pigeonholing the world. If I think about everything enough, it'll be all right. I'll work it all out. I'll make life into the picture I have of it. It just keeps us restless, anxious, ill at ease. Now, so we get a little anxious quiver, let's say, in our, and then straight away we're in the mind. Oh, see, we've labeled it anxiety. Straight away the mind labels it, and then it's looking to make sure everything's all right. No, peace isn't found in the mind in that way. It's not found by trying to control life with your thinking, even with your action. I mean, we have to make certain actions, but we can control life. Peace happens when we realize that we can let go of trying to control it. But we have to notice how we control or we try to control. That's what we all need to do. We need to see this for ourselves. I can't do it for you. Your partner can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. You have to look yourself, to be mindful yourself, to be aware yourself. Where are you scurrying to? It's not there. No matter which direction you go in, it's the wrong direction. Be here now. I know it's a cliche, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by it. Be here now. You're already here now. Just recognize that you are here now. Well, is that recognition? I'm here now. Okay? Then from that here nowness, no matter what you're doing, it might be emptying the dishwasher, it might be meditating, it might be talking to a friend, dressing the children, walking the dog. That's what I do. Um, you notice the scurrying. And what you can also, part of this noticing, part of the quality of paying attention is to know that this is just happening. Because you're not doing the scurrying intentionally, are you? There are times we need to think about the future, but we do, oh yeah, okay, I need to book the flight, or I need to, start putting money away each month, I'll start putting X amount away, or whatever it is. That's practical thinking. That's similar to me getting up from here and walking to the house. There's a kind of intention of going somewhere. That's not scurrying. Scurrying is, You know what scurrying is? Because it makes you feel like, oh, unsettled, restless. See, this scurrying happened. The mind is active, trying to find this place of security, trying to secure secure the world. That's what it's trying to do. In this, trying to find the unchanging in a changing world, the changeless in a changing world. We might put it like that, but if you pay attention, that's what we're wanting. Or we want change on our terms. So it suits me. It suits my preferences. It suits my fears, my likes, my dislikes. It suits my picture of life. But see, all that's changing. And another thing we begin to see as we pay attention, just walking down the street, we see it, the scurrying. There we go. So there's this scurrying to A, then there's a scurry to B, then there's a scurry to C, then there's a scurry to D, L, F, Z, Z, or whatever it is. Yeah? All that scurrying. The content's different, but the mechanism's the same. But there is something that's constant. What do you think that is? It's this. It's beingness, a sense of being. You're never without a sense of being. Even when you're in deep sleep, there's a sense of being. There's just not, I am being, but there's a sense of being. This is the constant. It's like space is the constant. The contents within space are changing. Yeah. Now it's autumn here, the leaves are changing, falling. It's becoming cooler and wetter. So we start here from this sense of being present, aware presence, whatever we want to call it. Yeah. A sense of aliveness, a feeling of aliveness, which is undeniable. And from there, we can see the scurrying. And the more and more you see it, the less you go with it. I've seen it. I've seen this. There's nothing there. See, going into the mind, like we keep going into the mind like that. It's like going back. It's like having a rubbish bag and going back into it. You go in, and all you get is, like smelly hands off the baked bean tins and the cheese packets, and yeah, you don't like it. But we're convinced there's something in there of value, so we keep going in. All we get is smelly hands. But we're convinced there's something in there for me. And that's like the mind. We keep going into the mind in this way. I'm not talking about practical thinking now. You know what I'm talking about. We keep going there, future, past, uh, uh, regurgitating the things. In Buddhism, it's called papancha, mental proliferation, going over things over and over again. There's something here for me. I'm going to find happiness in the future. You won't. It doesn't exist. It's a concept. And it's a vital concept for running a society. But the future only happens now. Whenever the future is happening, it's happening now. Then it's not the future. But the mind keeps scurrying there. So get out the rubbish bin. Rubbish bin. Huh? Rubbish bag. Come back. And then notice the world. The trees, the birds, the people, the colours, the sounds, the smells. So that's the takeaway. Make this practical. These talks. In most of the talks, there's a takeaway. Take away something. Notice the scurrying. I see it. Uh, uh, uh. And the scurrying doesn't have to be about the future and past, but it can be about yourself. Oh, I'm not good. I'm not good enough. Oh, that I messed up. It's all scurrying, trying to just trying to work it all out. You won't work life out with the mind. It's not there. There's an image, a poem. I haven't got it with me, but the image is of it says many people. It's actually I think it's an Indian poem. Anyway, I think Native American Indian poem. Yeah, forgive me, that's not politically correct. I don't. Yeah. I'm doing my best. You never quite know what to say nowadays. And so it talks about there are many of us now. There's a great river, roaring river. Yeah, and the idea is to go with the river because that's like the river of life. You go with it. But what many of us are doing is clinging onto the side. I don't want to go with life. I don't want to give up my will, the way I want it. So we cling onto the side, and this river of life is everything's in this river of life. So in this river, there are rocks and boulders. And because we're hanging on, we get bashed by them. So life bashes us because we're holding on. We're clinging, in the Buddhist term, clinging. So we get bashed by life. When what the poem and what our practice is encouraging us to do is to let go and to go with the river of life. Then you go with the boulders and the logs. They don't batter you. They might knock you off course a bit. Huh? They don't hit you head on. It's quite a powerful image. Let that. Just have a few moments pause. Okay, I think that's probably enough. Just wanted to drop in and share the scurrying mind with you, the rubbish bag, the river of life. Our little scared feelings, our little anxious quiver, we can just feel them and don't go into the mind. If you can see that, see when you go into the mind and come back and take away the label of anxiety or fear, whatever. See, it's fresh and new every time, fresh and new. Be with the sensation itself. Investigate it. When I say investigate it, I mean be curious. What does it feel like? Not the label. What does it actually feel like? That's the way to begin to be at ease with things that are normally upset us or disturb us. Nothing disturbs you but your own imagination. Now, the imagination is brilliant. It can create cures for um, viruses, cancers, build bridges, take us to the moon, build aeroplanes. But it can also create suffering. The imagination. So it's your own mind that disturbs you. Stop disturbing yourself. Or, more accurately, begin to notice when you're disturbing yourself. I'm not saying things don't need seeing to, and you trip over you might bash your car or trip over, and that's a physical disturbance, if you like. We have to attend to it, but we don't need to be mentally disturbed. We need to respond, but it's that disturbance. We can be walking down the street, a beautiful day, and we disturb ourselves. Notice when you're disturbing yourself and stop it. we, it's difficult to just stop it, but we have to start noticing. Pay attention. Thanks. Bye-bye.